Hey everyone, hello. This is a game from the Tourney to Jouzu tournament between GuillermoB and Morbieus. Now, this was submitted to me by my Morbieus, I'll admit a friend of mine. I'm gonna go ahead and look at this game from Gote's perspective for that reason. This game is absolutely wild. It's quite long, so gonna be in for a bit of a roller coaster here. Immediately Sente starts off by going wrong, and I'm going to be totally clear here. I know Sente wanted to play a very specific castle, but there's absolutely no reason to ever justify this move order. I even commented why on this move. Because it's a bad move, plain and simple. You can make some kind of initiative. You can activate a piece. Because you have to move this bishop anyway. We're gonna see what Sante's plan is. They have to move this bishop anyway. Why would you ever make a committal move like this when you can make a... Whoops. By the way, that's also a bad starting move. Engines like it for some reason, but it is just worse against Fruity Bisha than against swinging. It is worse against swinging rook than it is against static rook. So engines don't tend to like swinging rook, so they're okay making this move against static rook, but that's a topic for another video. Since humans like swinging rook, we shouldn't play that. Okay. Now, this, however, first of all, absolutely guarantees that we are playing static rook. Okay, that's fine. This move pretty much does the same, but what's the difference? This move actually creates some kind of pressure. It's a big difference. Additionally, in many lines of double static rook, say, double wing attack, which is a very, very popular opening. We want this gold to go here, or we even want it to stay where it is. There are a lot of variations where this gold does not belong here. So we are putting ourselves in a worse situation in a lot of reasonable variations than we would be if we if we just leave this gold alone and make a better move. Now this is what you should be doing. Gote makes the right choice here. Develops a piece. And I'm going to, again, this is a big problem that a lot of beginners have. Yes, castling is important, but there is such a thing as over-castling. Our castle should not be decided from move 1. Our castle should be decided once we have some idea what our opponent is doing. And maybe you prepared against your opponent and they like to do some things. But if they see you doing this, most strong opponents will punish you for it. If I see my opponent do this, it doesn't matter what I prepared, I'm playing here. Why? Because now there's simply not a very good shape that Sente can make. Yes, they can play here. And all of a sudden, I have an improved version of Bishop Exchange. This doesn't work, by the way. There's no Bishop fork here, because I can just go here, defending this over. Okay. This is a better position. But that's all some crazy line. I don't know if that exact line is going to happen, but it's an example. If you overcastle against a strong opponent, and you are not trying to attack them, if you are not trying to use your pieces, they will just make a strong attack against where your king is, and you may as well not have a castle at all. The point of a castle is to slow down the enemy attack. So, if you are castling so early that your opponent can just make a different attack, and you are not creating any kind of pressure, this whole side of the board is completely inactive right now, then your opponent can just make an attack that will go right into that castle. It'll be like you have no castle at all, and you have no attack. If one side is attacking and the other is not, the attacking side will almost always win. That is the reality of shogi. This is bad. Don't do this in your games. You need to make an attack. Okay. And of course we instead play Sanfu Rook here, which is it's totally fine. It's not bad. Okay. Of course I would prefer to play Static Rook here and punish the opponent for overcastling, but you know, it's not a bad position at all. And now our opponent just keeps overcastling. They spend the next just all of their time just making Anaguma. Why are they just making Anaguma? I couldn't tell you. I cannot tell you. What is the strategy here? Are we doing anything that Gote has to react to? No. Are we playing to win by creating pressure against Gote? No. You do not make Anaguma just because it's Anaguma. Anaguma is an attacking sheet. Why? Because you get an extra move in a fighting endgame. So when you're playing Anaguma, the purpose is you're making a big castle so that you can attack. If you are just rushing into the corner of the board with all of your attacking pieces doing absolutely nothing, then you're just putting you are putting the bear in a hole so that he can die in that hole. That is all you are doing. Okay. So both sides continue fastling here. It's okay. Yeah, and look at this. Already, Gote is better here. Because Sente's not doing anything. Sente is not making any attempt to make progress in the position. Okay. Already, Gote has a very strong attacking silver, has an active rook, has an active bishop, and this one has a big weakness. And all of a sudden, after spending all of these moves, building a castle on complete autopilot for no reason. There is no reason for this. I don't care if it's solid. That's not correct. Only now we decide to push. And at this point it's wrong. Because Gote can just go here. The head of this bishop, one of the biggest weaknesses on the board, in fact, maybe the biggest weakness that Sente has, is completely exposed. There's nothing Sente can do to prevent this silver from just advancing again. Or worse, even prevent Gote from just pushing here and breaking through. Gote wins. That's it. Why does Gote win like this? Because Sente has absolutely no ability to make any kind of strong attack. That is the price of doing this. Not of making Anaguma in general, but of making nothing but a castle. Shogi is an attacking game. You cannot win by just chilling in the corner. And if you get lucky against some 10Q players, this is a 10Q game. If you get lucky against some 10Q players by sitting in the corner and waiting for them to blunder, then you are going to stay 10Q. Because that is not a strategy that will work against anyone other than 10Q players. So, what happens in the game? We push the pawn, which is premature. We would moving the silver first is better. And here, playing the bishops is absolutely the right move. And I'm gonna talk about the general strategy of Anaguma here. Because Anaguma's whole goal is to say, since I have such a strong castle, I can make crazy trades, I can make crazy sacrifices, and so long as I make Hishi, before Hishi is a brinkmate, before you make Sume, then I will win. Because my king is one square further away than your king is. That's it. That is the purpose of Anaguma. And the castle is not necessarily more solid than Half Mino. Well, Half Mino is a 2 general castle against a 3 general castle, so that will come into play. But say this is Momino, or if this was a Kushiro Anaguma instead, so they wouldn't be more or less solid than we know would be. But the king is one square further away, and that is the goal. That's not always an advantage, by the way, because if this king gets attacked from this direction, or this direction, or this direction, there's nowhere to run. King is in the core. That is both a strength and a weakness. So, here, after this bishop captures, Gote makes a crazy move. And when I first looked at this in the 81 Dojo Kifu, I shook my head and I said, wow, I mean, no Tenkyu ever plays at it. It must be some brilliant move. I mean, we're sacrificing a bishop technically, but we're making this very strong token, and look, we're attacking the Anaguma right on. But then I kept looking and I saw that there's a very nice move, and we do not actually have to capture the token. You can go here, and after captures, recapture with the horse, and this horse happens to cover all three of these squares, so the rook cannot come in. And now in this position, this horse is a promoted piece, so Sente has a promoted piece, a safer king, if slightly, and a bishop for a gold. So in this position, Sente would have just been winning. But I don't want to call this move a blunder, because practically it is a very cool move, and I love the spirit of this kind of move. This is, motivated attacking shogi is what you like to see, but we do need to be careful that sometimes it doesn't quite work out. Okay. However, this is a blunder. This is what was played in the game. I will admit that even this would be a better move, because they probably have to take the horse, and then your gold is surviving, and they don't have a token. This is better than just moving the gold, because now they have a token, and they have the horse. And this token is incredible. It is the best piece on the board, and if you look at the evaluation, Gote is not only winning, but this is an absolutely crushing position. This token alone is enough to destroy this castle eventually. And a token in the middle, a token on 5-7. I believe there's even a proverb about it that it's just lethal. Incredible piece. This move is interesting to me, and there's a lot of things that could have happened in this position. Notably, there was a much better bishop drop, which was just to go here instead. It is a fork. And this lance is behind the rook, so it's a skewer too. Okay. We should not go here, call this a mistake, to say, actually even a blunder. Hello? It's not updating. Alright, whatever. Call this a blunder. Because this token is too important, so giving up the token is not okay. The card to move here instead is to just move the rook, and after lance captures, we actually make this token capture, because we're opening the line for this rook to promote. It should continue like this, and rook promotion is more than enough for the lance. This is still a winning position for Gote. Played in the game was this instead of thought played in the game was this followed by this. And yes, again, there was a better option. Instead, we can play here immediately. Why do I say immediately? You'll see. And after this exchange, we're doing absolutely fine. But it's difficult to see because there is this bishop drop here threatening to promote. And we should actually ignore it and play this cool pawn drop, protecting the token from the bishop and saying that, hey, if this token suddenly were to, say, take this pawn, then we're going to make another token. And all of a sudden we have a token factory here that's just gonna make an army of promoted pawns that are kind of just gonna stroll over to this king and say, "Hey buddy, we're gonna have some fun together. What do you do?" Alright, bishop promotes in this variation, and exactly as I said, we have to insert this bishop drop to protect the silver. Bishop captures the pawn, doesn't do very much. Now we have these two tokens, and they're all attacking the square with the help of this bishop too. A very, very powerful attack will follow, and again, this is a winning position for Gote. So that is a very complicated line, and one that move for move I probably would kind of come up with in my own tournament game. But seeing that we can trade off the bishops here and improve the silver and doing so is enough. Okay. And then, what happened in the game here? I don't understand at all. I truly, this move does less than nothing. It does protect this pawn, but unless there's a threat of another token being made, or opening this line for the rook to come in, then Gote doesn't want to take this pawn. It's a bad move, because we're moving the powerful token away from the king. We're going from here to here, losing a move like that. So we really need a good reason to take this pawn. If we're Sente, we want Gote to just autopilot and grab this pawn. Obviously he's not going to, unless he has a really good point in it, but protecting this pawn is not useful to us. We block our rook. That could matter. We create a hole here. That can definitely matter. And the silver really doesn't have a future either. Even if it goes here, where is it going from there? It's just blocking the rook. There could be some crazy variation where it goes backward and then we try to drop a pawn here to get rid of this token, but even then that's speculative because we don't even have a pawn in hand yet. This is not a good move. The engine even suggests this, saying the token is more valuable than a silver over here doing absolutely nothing. So we just sacked silver to get rid of the token. It's not a move I would have played, but it is an interesting suggestion. Okay. Played in the game of silver 3, and now all of a sudden, Gote goes ahead with this bishop drop. And I'm convinced that this is a wrong move because of a simple reason. In Shogi, we make a lot of moves during a game. And an important thing is to make sure that our moves are coordinated with each other and giving each other a purpose. This bishop drop takes away the purpose of this rook move. Why do I word it like that? Because the only goal of this rook move is to get out of the way of this bishop. And if we're blocking the bishop on the next move anyway, then this rook move all of a sudden is doing absolutely nothing. It's pointless. So we just lost a turn moving the rook like this, and the rook doesn't want to be here. It's gonna have to move again anyway. Losing multiple turns like that, that's a big deal. Okay. Now, 1, 2, 5. And this is I could say the single biggest mistake of this game. Actually, first let me talk about bishop 5 some more, because what could we have done? We could have gone here instead. I actually almost think bishop 5 was a misclick because of this. This move here is just winning the game on the spot. Yeah, there's this pawn push, bishop moves, and now there's nothing. Even this is just not a big deal because we just take here. This is winning. Your castle is gonna fall apart. There's gonna be a promoted piece here. Okay, some move like this, and we even ignore that the bishop's hanging. Captures, and Gote's winning. Yeah. So bishop 5-5, big mistake. Bishop 4-5 would have been a crushing move. And here, yeah, I mean, this move goes from completely undeniably winning to maybe equal. I want to point out that this silver is a terrible piece. And this token is the best piece on the board. Why do I say that? This silver is doing absolutely nothing except for protecting a pawn. It dreams of some situation where it can join the game and get over here and be part of this castle. This token wants to go in this direction, destroy this castle, and checkmate this king. So what Gote does in this position is sacrifice the token to the left and help the silver advance. And in doing so, I'm gonna point out, one of our biggest things in this game, our big advantages, is initiative. Because we had an attacking shape and our pieces were active. And Sente did not have that because Sente spent all of their time in the opening just making a castle for no reason. So what do? We make uncoordinated moves that lead to losing 2 minimum turns. And in that time, our opponent all of a sudden is making an attack. And then, our other advantage, this incredible piece, compared to this terrible piece, we throw it away in a way that makes the terrible piece actually quite active. Because now the silver can go here, it can go here, it can go here. Silver's doing whatever it wants now. It goes from the worst piece I've seen in a long time to an pretty decent piece. I mean, it's not the best piece in the game, but it's controlling important squares. It has a future now, which it didn't have before. Look, whoops. What we can say for the silver in this position is that it has no future. The best it can do is go backwards, maybe, and try and cut off this token. That is a just sad role for a piece to have. And that's the most future it can possibly have now. It has any future it wants. It can go back and it can defend. It can go up and it can chase away our bishop. It can go to the moon if it wants to. And now in this position, we go here. And just like that, every bit of the advantage we used to have is gone. It is now Sente who has a very large advantage. Because what did these frick moves do? I ought to point out our past few moves. We made an unnecessary rook move. We then made an unnecessary bishop move that we should have made earlier. We sacrificed our best piece without any real reason for it and helped our opponent's worst piece. And then we undid the earlier rook move. So, I want to point out that we would have got this exact position in a shirt like this by starting here, playing this, and say our opponent makes still this bad silver move. Now we don't capitalize on that, of course. We move our king over, a push, move our king over again. Oh, not quite. Okay, king over is not the way to. Okay, yeah, sack, and now king back. And hey, look, we wound up in the same position by making the right moves and just wasting 2 moves. Oh, and also losing the token. So, what did we do in that time? We threw both of our advantages in the trash. Just gone. They're gone now. It's a new game. And this move immediately is, not the best move on the board. It's hard to say why. I mean, this move is this is an engine idea. I didn't come up with this myself, but it's actually very cool. And the whole point is just saying, this good bishop doesn't have any more future. It's not looking at this king anymore. And we're just going to make an attack over here because we're on Anaguma, and eventually we'll break through, and then we'll be faster. We're happy with that. Say this exact variation happens. This is a good position for Sente. And in this position, we trade the bishops and silver takes. And what I said about this move is that while it's not a bad move, it's not a human move, and it's definitely the worst option of the 3 captures. Because we're weakening our castle. We put all of this effort into making a big castle, and we're making a move that weakens the castle like this. Capturing with the gold is what feels the most natural to me. And it is absolutely okay, even according to the engine. But the engine prefers taking with the knight. We call this taking the pants off the Anaguma. Taking the pants off. And the engine likes this move because it activates the knight and maintains the shape of the generals. I think the weakness on the back rank is maybe something to be aware of, especially for humans, but the engine also likes that this knight is controlling this square, and that restricts the silver from advancing. Maybe the knight can even attack in some variation. So there is value in taking with the knight here. But it's important to be careful because it's both weakening, but also improving our piece. Okay. Gold takes is the safe choice. Silver takes is the wrong choice. Now this knight jumps up. And this bishop drop. And this gold move. Okay, we're just defending because attacking knight here, so we just defend it. And then this. Comments are in the absolute wrong place. I'm just realizing that because this comment should be on a much higher up move. Yeah, I don't know why this comment teleported downward. Lishogi studies have been a bit weird lately. Okay, this silver move. We would rather play this and attack this weak point. This instead. Now, here, this was a bit inaccurate, and that's because attacking the bishop is something we want to do, and there is a small advantage in this move, but there was a powerful, if complex move to punish a weakness created by this silver. Okay. Because the silver was weakening. And the best move in this position is this bishop drop. Threatening to promote. And then attack. Or attack. Gives blue for that. Yeah. Silver 5-7 prevents this from happening. But there's a really beautiful move here. Rook to 2-1. And there are other options in the position, but I think this move is just absolutely wonderful because what are we doing? We're taking the rook off this dangerous diagonal. We're protecting the lance. We're preparing to bring the rook to a better square. And we're threatening to use this knight aggressively. What's this knight gonna do? Excuse me. What's this knight going to do? Going to jump up, attack the silver, and in doing so, this bishop's gonna be able to break through here. Okay, for example. By the way, yes, the engine does consider just fixing the castle to be the best. So silver takes is just losing tempo. Okay. And this knight move is very strong. Bishop 7-5 here. It's kind of a weird move. We're kind of attacking this gold, saying maybe we're gonna sacrifice the bishop. But it's not that big of a deal, probably. So, Gote, seeing this threat in bigger quotes, makes the worst move on the board. And why do I call it that? Yeah, now, okay, there are worse moves, of course. We could go here and just lose the bishop for nothing, but I'm talking about serious moves. This is the worst reasonable move. Because trading the bishops is good for Sente. Why? This bishop is in hand. This bishop is on the board. Sente is Anaguma. They want to trade pieces so that they can start a big fight and break through our slightly weaker castle, debatably. This helps Anaguma's game plan, not our game plan. So what should we do instead? This. Same thing. This is a good place for the bishop. We don't need to trade stuff. By the way, what was played in the game was not trading the bishops. It was retreating the silver. I label it a mistake because trading bishops is just incredible for Sente. And in this case, Gote goes ahead and forces Sente to make the trade that Gote doesn't want to make. Now, this trade is inevitable. It's pretty much going to happen no matter what. Pushing this pawn is both weakening and gives Sente a free move to trade with. Sente's going to have to spend a move to make this trade eventually. It's going to cost a move. So here, it now no longer costs a move, and this pawn, and this diagonal right when we're trading bishops. This diagonal right when we're trading bishops, and subsequently the head of our king. Boom, 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 boom. This is all gonna be targets. Yeah, this is not helpful. What should we do? Move the rook. The rook wants to come this way and attack. It doesn't want to be a glorified lance staring at a pawn. That is not what a rook wants to be. Okay. So, obviously, given the free move to trade, Sente goes ahead and makes the trade. I'm worried about what else Sente would do, because every other option is bad. Okay, captures. And this rook float. Maybe it's weird caught in an accuracy, but we also don't see what it's supposed to accomplish. If we want to use the rook, I feel like this is more productive. We're putting it in a much more active place. But I'll admit there was also just a better move in general, which is here. Why? Because once again, our game plan with Anaguma is to trade the pieces that are inactive for our opponent's active pieces, and then use those in a big attack to destroy their king. So, if we say, now play this, captures, oh hey look, there's this big open diagonal to attack the king on. That's not something they want. Okay. Instead, they should avoid the silver trade. And our best move here, is just to push this pawn. Why? Because what we just did is we took this inactive silver and made it active, and then there was this weakening move earlier. I mentioned this was weakening because this pawn moved up. And now we attack the weak point. What happens once that weak point disappears? We're getting closer and closer to this king. Simple. Okay. So what happened in the game was this rook move followed by... This move is wonderfully creative and it is beautiful to look at. Unfortunately, it doesn't work. So silver takes bishop to 4-4. Beautiful move. It's a fork. If you want to pause the video, I'm gonna go ahead and flip the board and find the move that keeps Sente in the game. In a brilliant move, I will call it. You can do that now. Sente should play in the position is 5-5 bishop. Yes, the rook will fall. That's okay. We have a silver in hand. This is a fork. There is no saving the material. We are going to win the material back. And we will be in very good shape. It's good enough. Alright. This is a blunder because it just loses a whole rook. Cheers. This I mark as inaccurate. It's just so late in the game. The fight is already happening. Fixing our castle now feels depressing. Okay. Rook strike. Using the rook we gained to make an attack. What can I complain about? Bishop f5. Attacking a weak point. Once again, a good move. Taking a knight. Captures. And silver up. There were other options here, but I don't think this is wrong. She comes back. And this is a blunder. Because the knight is hanging. This equalizes. Yeah, we're not happy with that. Instead, we should go here. And after the bishop retreats, we can then move the gold. Now we're not going to lose the knight. Besides, if the bishop goes this way, now we can just promote our bishop. So either way the bishop goes, we get something good for it. And then there is this move. So, recognizing that this is a weakness and we can make an attack in this area of the board is very important. But we may as well just take the hanging piece. The knight is still hanging. What would have been a better move? This. Blocks the bishop. After captures, we can play silver up. And we're not losing material. Yeah, this king is a bit precarious. It's crazy to play like this, but it is, in fact, okay. Not the best move in the position. Now, in this position, we don't need to move away from this king to go grab a knight anymore. We can go ahead and buy. Where is the best move here? Yeah, we can just go ahead and capture this, and then after the necessary silver move, because it's weakening, we can then take the knight. It's a slight difference. Okay. Bishop promotes. Also a mistake. Pawn to 7-5 was a much better move. Why? The main reason is that all of a sudden, there's a knight in hand. Should flip the board back to how it was before. All of a sudden, there's a knight in hand. Okay. Silver comes up. And then this gold can come up to prevent a knight drop on the square. Because a knight drop here, protected by this silver, would have been a very dangerous fork. Hey, what's played in the game? Captures. And this blunder. It's a completely unnecessary move. And what would have been better is this. Okay, it's a powerful fork. No, that also a blunder. Again, taking the pawn is necessary because of this. Now the horse comes back. Horse takes the pawn, and the bull goes up now. The problem with this move and why I marked it a mistake is because there is a better way to go about this. The gold is hanging and does need to be saved in this case. But we can just bring the horse back, improving the piece and protecting the gold. This also restricts this enemy horse a little bit and keeps the gold near to the fight. This gold still has some ways of defending this king a tiny bit, but once you move it up, it is destined to be an attacker, and only an attacker. The problem with this gold being an attacker is that it is ridiculously far away from the enemy king. We don't have time to use it. So moving the gold up like this, especially moving it diagonally where it has no means of going back to where it was, makes its purpose a little bit unclear. Okay. Pawn takes, sword takes, and this pawn drop is very nice because after the silver goes back, we have a very useful square, and we would like to use that square and put a knight here that the silver has to take, because if not silver takes, then the rook is dead. So silver takes, pawn takes, and this king now has a weak square right on his ear. Don't like that. Okay. Instead we go ahead and we move the swords over, which is not a terrible move, but it's just not the best move. And offering bishop trade here is not the best choice at all. This, again, has the problem that trading the major pieces will speed up Anaguma's attack. But it won't really speed up our attack. That means it's good for Anaguma, and not for us, to trade the major pieces. Yeah, we're going to lose the rook regardless, and they shouldn't indeed take the rook. In this case, they should take the horse. Yeah. The knight fork here... Oh, excuse me, that's the wrong square. The knight fork here, all of a sudden, the knight can't be recaptured by the silver, and we're losing the rook as well. This is a terrible outcome. So, what should we do instead of this blunder? We should make this king move. It's a beautiful defensive move, and it serves multiple purposes. Firstly, we're getting out of the way of these knight drops. Second, we're defending these generals. I'm saying generals because the rook is probably gonna die. And we're bringing the king into a more defensible position, closer to his generals, and off of this potentially dangerous diagonal. Now, if he were to trade this bishop for the rook, it wouldn't speed up his attack all that much, while now, the bishop would be able to speed up our attack a bit more, because we have some access to this. Can I draw the arrow quickly? This diagonal. A bit complicated, but really a nice move. And here there's this rook drop, which, from a human perspective, it looks like an attacking move, and it is a useful move to get the rook back on the board, but when we have multiple useful moves, we have to decide which one is best. And in this case, there's a weakness here, a weakness here, and a weakness here. And they all happen to be on intersecting lines. What does that mean? It means we drop the rook here. Instead, we have this rook drop, followed by this. And I don't understand this move. I suppose we're defending this much, but the problem is there's something much more important going on in the position right now. And regardless, even if we didn't have an immediately hanging piece, that puts our king in incredible danger. Defending this pawn, that isn't really doing much, is a terrible use of our time in the endgame. I mean, ignore the fact that, assuming something was protecting a school to use a pawn, we would just move this bishop here for a fork. You better move. So I can't even say that this is a justification. And even then, we could be preparing to attack the castle, threatening to make a token, threatening this silver, or making any number of productive attacking moves. This is both unproductive and extremely painful. This bishop drop, by the way, very nice. Div fork. And I'd like to see that now we're actually attacking a bit. It's very important. This gold comes in here. And I think the reason not to sacrifice the bishop here is because this bishop drop is very dangerous. Bishop comes back to here, captures. And then a lance drop. And we're trying to attack the head of this king. Because if we sacrifice the lance and the king takes it, then our dragon can take the knight. And the game will probably be over very quickly. Silver drop. It's not the best way to defend. What is the best way to defend? Not. Because we still have this bishop protecting it. We can attack instead. And then defend after they add another attacker maybe. And they go with this, which is not the right way. Remember, this is defended enough times. We're not going to break through like this, so what would be better? Knight 7-4. Now, we keep going back to this move for a reason. Look what we just did. This bishop is blocked. Silver takes. Takes. Okay, you have to retake with one of the bishops. Otherwise you lose. Okay, got a silver in hand. What's the silver doing? Mate. That's severe. And I don't know if this was even necessarily the very best line for Gote, but it's just an example. I want to highlight with this Knight 7-4 move that we recognized a weakness here, made a very nice pawn move to create a square that we can use, and then we never actually wind up using that square. Kind of sad. Okay, this knight drop is correct. We're just continuing to over-defend this important point, while also following an important proper drop where the opponent wants to drop. We know if our opponent gets a diagonal piece, silver, that it will go here and cause us problems. So dropping a piece here is very nice. Knight sacrifice, captures, and then after this capture, the silver comes up. It promotes. Silver comes up again. Now we take the lance. I'm not a fan of taking material in this kind of endgame position. But at the same time, it's hard for me to say what to do instead. And now, this is a terrible blunder because we have a dragon that is doing a wonderful job of attacking this king. We have 3 pawns in hand. There is no argument that we need a pawn in hand. This pawn is doing absolutely nothing. And same with this pawn, we do not need to protect this pawn. This square is the most important square on the board, so we go from protecting this square to protecting this square. Yeah, this is the blunder. It's a positional blunder, but it's still a blunder. Okay, what was better? We can just get all the way up in this king's face. Yeah, we're gonna chase all this stuff away. We're gonna attack. This king's gonna get checkmated. Because if this horse thieves, the silver dies. Okay. Horse comes up. maybe not the best move. And now this. And again, what do? We move the dragon, our best attacker, even further away from the enemy king. This is like the story where Cinderella got kicked off the soccer team because she was running away from the mall. Okay. So what to do instead? Use the piece. Use it aggressively. Why can't we go here anymore? It's a blunder. This is an endgame. We need to be attacking the king, not running away from him. Okay. Next up. Just kind of cutting off the dragon some more. I don't think it's the right move. I would rather do something else, but it's also not like a bad move. Ready to leave? And Gold 36 is a very natural looking move. It's saying, you can have this horse and I'll take the dragon. And then my gold's getting closer and it's going to attack you, but there's actually a big problem with that. Because there's an important detail here. This dragon sucks. It's a terrible piece. It was a good piece before it ran away from the king. Now it's doing absolutely nothing. This dragon is worth less than this gold. We should not trade. We should just go here instead and prepare an attack. So this is a blunder. And Sente actually correctly trades. Silver comes up. It's not the strongest move. It's not bad, but it's not bad. What would have been stronger? The fork move. Dropped. Silver comes up. And we keep moving the silvers. Now, what would have been better in this case is actually trading. Which is interesting because it seems like one of the moves I would have complained about earlier. In the sense that, oh yeah, we're speeding up. We're speeding up Sente's attack, we're trading off a good piece. But in this case, this silver is causing us a lot of problems. And if there's a pawn in that exact square, they can't drop anything in that square to keep attacking us. So we get a silver in hand to attack with, and they now have to find a way to actually use that silver in hand. Okay. Would they... Yeah, there's also some in-between move here with a pawn drop, but it's not that critical. Okay. Instead, we move the silver up, land sacrifice, and finally this wonderful knight drop. King moves up. And we go wrong in this position because this silver drop allows the king to run this way. And what's going to happen with this king? I want to point out this square is completely owned by Gote. As is this square, and this one, and this one, and this one, and this one. This king is going to run into the enemy camp, and he will never get checkmated. And this king is gonna be super slow to get out of Anaguma if he wants to try and do the same. And he is going to get checkmated. So, surprisingly, against this heavy silver drop, it's not only a good move, but a winning move to put the king here. Instead, we go here, and we're running toward the enemy castle, which is a front-facing castle with a lance and a pawn here, and a gold here that can attack us, and a pawn here, and generals behind it, and a knight here. And we're surrounding our own king. This is a blunder. Knight promotes. And... Knife? This move is not acceptable. Where does this rook belong? This rook belongs over here, where it can attack this king. What is it doing here? Is it protecting this knight? Because if you're doing that, what you're telling me is this rook in hand is worth less than this knight. Because now its only job is just protecting this knight. That's what this rook is worth. This rook This rook here is worth this inactive knight. Okay. There has to be a better place for it. This move would have been better. We're removing an attacker, which means we're getting our king an escape route. And where is this king gonna go from this escape route? Here, 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 and here. Okay, same idea. Sente takes the lance for some reason. Knight jumps. Promoted knight comes up. Just surrounding the king for a little bit. It's not a terrible move, but there would have been better ways to go about it. Knight takes. Lance drop. King runs. And this leaves the king susceptible to this fork, which probably would have won the game on the spot. Instead, my opponent... Yeah, what would have been better is this pawn drop, by the way. Instead, our opponent drops the bishop here. It is a skewer, but we can just drop on the way. Knight takes here, which I'm not sure what the idea is. This would have been far more productive, because after we recapture, now this bishop can become active. Oh, and we've really yet to take, by the way, with the silver, because now this bishop skewer is a real problem. Pawn drop here is wrong. What would have been better? Another funny move. Going here. Why? Because after bishop takes, we still have knight captures. So it'd be a blunder. After silver takes, we don't recapture, and we start running up the board to safety. That's the correct way to escape. So this is wrong because we have that cool idea. And bishop takes is also wrong because the knight can take. I don't really understand this lance stroke. Again, the right choice would be this. This knight jump and taking the lances, not okay. This king is in way too much danger, and we don't have to put our king in this kind of danger anyway. Yeah, we're winning a lance, but if we go here, we're eventually winning a king. Or at least, we're winning the safety of this king, which matters more than this lance. And it matters more than I could highlight every single piece on the board except for the enemy king. The material is not worth our king's safety. Again, the right move is to go here. Promoted knight comes up, surrounding the king from behind. This was the correct move. And this knight sacrifice, which it is a creative attack, and it's important to know that these tactics against Anaguma can be very strong in some cases. But in this position, it wasn't the right idea. Better would have been this attempt, making room for the rook to remount. But it is still too slow. And here, we have the first in a continuous series of missed checkmates. Firstly, in this position, there's mate in 1, but instead this is played. This would have been mate. Sente wins here. So, in response to this blunder, Gote plays here, allowing for checkmate in 3. This knight sacrifice is a brilliant move, or it would be if it was followed up correctly. I don't understand. Our goal here should always be to look at the fact that this king has no squares that they can legally move to. That means any check is checkmate. And this is a blunder. And so is this. What should have been played is this move, creating an escape route for the king. Well, not here, obviously, like this. Creating an escape route for the king, while also attacking this important diagonal. This would have been a great move. So, here we see a nothing pawn drop followed by a nothing pawn drop. Now, I think both players were definitely in Byoyomi at this point. We are very late in the game. In fact, we're over 150 moves into the game. But I want to point out that these pawn drops have nothing to do with the position. Because the whole game now is over here. Whichever one of these kings gets checkmated first will decide it. Even if we chase this silver away, we're not really gaining all that much. And even if we just don't see that we can get checkmated, thus making this move important, it still makes more sense to do something like this. Of course, we still got checkmated there, so that doesn't make it a good move, but it's a better idea to be looking towards this king instead of this silver. Follows this. Again, we need to be looking at this, not looking at this or this. This. Just taking the pawn. We really want to just take a pawn. This. And this. And this. And this. Right. So, we dropped a silver, and then used it just to take a silver. And all the while, we could have been checkmated. It's not the right mentality for the endgame. And now, the final blunder, at least for a moment. Because this move not only takes away our own path to checkmate, it also puts the gold on a worse square, and potentially, on defense this silver, it potentially creates a knight drop here in some variation, though I don't see how that would realistically happen. It's still worth paying attention to. Yeah, the gold drop, but mostly its problem is that it both doesn't accomplish anything, and it saves the enemy king from our own checkmate threat. Okay. We reactivate the bishop, but it has a problem. We need to do this. We need to get our rook in the game. We don't want to block our own rook. Okay. We have some gold. And again, this gold move. I guess we wanted to open up the lands. Hey, it is a plan. Silver takes. Finally. On drop. Silver for mountain. On nap. Not okay. Capturous. Absolutely the correct move in the position. Now we're looking at the king. Now we're aiming in the right direction. Because beforehand, in these positions, both players had sniper rifles, and they were aiming each other. They were supposed to be aiming at each other, it's a duel. But both of them put on a blindfold, spun around, and they were shooting in the opposite direction. And so this happens. Both of them are just shooting in the opposite direction. And now in this position, Gote finally takes the blindfold off and shoots right at the king. Captures. Threatening checkmate. Okay. There was a faster mate here. There was definitely a faster mate here. Starting with this. For sure. Yes. King takes. Captures. Knight drop. And it's a simple mate. Silver drop. Gold. Okay. So. It's a faster checkmate, for sure. Okay. So this would be better. But then again, we could say an easy brinkmate is better than a hard sume. So, just take the gold. It's not like anything can actually happen to our king at this point. I say that when our king has most no squares are, and the only place to go against a silver drop is here. So if anything were to happen that we didn't have the square, we would get checkmated. It's worth keeping in mind. Okay, silver drop. And bringing the horse back isn't the best move. Now, there's a better move here. Instead, there's a sume like this. Check. And gold drop. Similar idea with this knight drop here. And then after this bishop comes back, Sente decides to drop a pawn. This pawn is in Wonderland. It jumped down a rabbit hole, it fell for a long time, and now it's wondering quite where it is. Because the whole world is over here. And this pawn is gallivanting through the fields of roses, looking for the queen, and wondering, well, what happened to this game of shogi I was playing? Gold takes. There was a sume instead. Same idea. Okay. And capturing this is a blunder. It's checkmate. Oh my gosh, that game was immensely long. Yes, it took me even longer to study through this game, which clearly broke in some places because a lot of my variations were gone. See if it works properly in inline. But the main deal is the mindset, because Sente had the wrong mindset from the very beginning, which was, I'm going to make Anaguma and then hope my opponent blunders. That is not a good mindset. Now, Gote for the most part actually played pretty well through the opening and middle game, but then got too indecisive. You need to be decisive, you need to drop the bishop here. And then if you are saying, I am committing to this move, then you do not make the bishop drop later, you find the better move. You tap. You gauge a use to this earlier move. Now the rook is fighting against this bishop, it's removing where it can go. And that is the rook's job. The bishop doesn't also need to do that and make the rook useless. No, the bishop needs to go here. Attack. Yeah. Like further through this game, then were just a bunch of tactical issues. I think both sides needed to pay more attention to the fact that having a bunch of crazy exchanges happen, especially right near this king, is going to be good for Anaguma. Because Anaguma often was hesitant to trade, while Gote was very eager to trade. And I think that's a matter of playstyle, because I will say that Sente seems to have made a lot of decisions that are very defensive, which he should know that if he is playing Anaguma, he should be looking for Anaguma's rush. That's a situation where Anaguma wins by attacking and attacking and attacking until the end of the game. It is not a situation where Anaguma just defends for the sake of defending. Because in shogi, if you are ever defending for the sake of defending and not defending for a good reason, you are doing something wrong. Okay. Yes, slowing down the game in a game you're already winning, for instance, is a very good reason. And then the endgame was very chaotic, and both sides seemed to have the wrong... how do I put it? Both sides seemed to have the wrong idea. It's not a chess endgame where taking the pieces is how you get to the end. It's a shogi endgame where you need to trap the king. So, I would recommend that both players in endgames start working on a technique called speed counting. That means in every position, you are looking for how many moves will it take for me to threaten checkmate. How many moves will it take to threaten checkmate? How can I surround this king? Because I can assure you if your first thought in this position, if your absolute first thought in this position is, how many moves will it take for me to threaten checkmate? You will say, I am already threatening checkmate. Not only am I already threatening checkmate, but it is my turn, therefore I win. And then, if you are Gote in this position, not making this move, you say, how many moves until I threaten checkmate? Well, at least one. Because if I capture this gold, yes, it's probably a checkmate threat. Not that that would be a good move. I mean, they would take this, but yes, you can technically threaten checkmate like this, because if here, yeah, there's this silver drop, probably, yes, it's a checkmate. That doesn't mean that this is a line that will ever happen in a real game. Mostly because capturing here will just lead to this, and now we're getting checkmated in even more ways. Yeah, not the right move. But we would still say, yes, I need one move to threaten checkmate. And my opponent, are they threatening checkmate? Since I need one move to threaten checkmate, I can't checkmate them. Am I getting mated here? Well, my king has no squares. And... oh, they have a checkmate threat. Okay, how do I get out of that? Well, if I have an escape square, then it's not a mate threat anymore. And that means I can go here. Because if I remove this gold, then all of a sudden this attack will be very strong if I remove this gold. What? Lishogi? Why are you doing this to me? We flipped the board too. So, these long checkmates, yeah, we'll miss Sume. Sometimes it happens. It happens. But the main rule is how to think about the endgame. And that is to say, how do I checkmate? How close am I to being checkmated? How close is my opponent to being checkmated? Can I checkmate them right now? Am I getting checkmated right now? And you will play better moves in the endgame. Really, I mean, I think someone who is very, very good at the endgame and not good at anything else can get to 1-done. Somebody who is incredible in the opening and good in the middle game, they're not going to get to 1-done all that soon. It is more important to be very good at the endgame than very good at anything else. Now, again, I can only complain about this start. It's the wrong mentality. Your goal in the opening is not to castle and castle and castle. Your goal in the opening is to have a balance of castling and attacking. Sometimes that means not castling at all, or making a central castle. And yes, that's higher level stuff that you'll get to later on. But for now, if you are starting your game by making a castle and doing nothing else, you aren't learning how to attack. And that's a problem. Attacking is more important than castling, and the reason for that is because castling exists to make our attack more powerful. How so? Because if we have an extra move in the endgame, where do we have the extra move? It is in this situation. Am I doing it right here? We have an extra move right here because now when they take, this isn't a mate, it's a threat mate. That means we have one extra move, well, in this case taking. But regardless, we have one extra move because our king is one square further away. That's the point of making this big castle. And what does one extra move mean? It means we can spend that extra time attacking. So there is no use in having a big thick castle if you are not also going to attack. And I know you can say, yes, I attacked eventually. Eventually isn't good enough. No. You need a balance at attacking and defense at the very least in the opening. I'd even say a lot of times more attack than defense. But that's partly my own style, so. In conclusion, it was a very chaotic game. It was an exciting game, and I can see that both players fought hard. I think both of these players obviously have a long way to go, but also showed some very good ideas here and there. So, both of them, on top of having a long way to go, have already played at least one nice game. And, obviously I have a lot to criticize, but I was 10Q once as well, And if anyone was to look at my Tenku games, they would think that I had something wrong with me. Maybe that I was, I don't know how to put it, not all there. Okay, this video is 75 minutes long, talking about an 176 move game. It took, even making a study took me a long time. I'm gonna wrap it up here. Thank you guys for joining. I hope you enjoyed. Maybe the next game will not be this long. This much to analyze, but at the same time, a long game with a lot to analyze is fun and instructive, and that's the point of all this. But I don't want to go for so long that I start to melt your brain or something. I don't want to melt your brain unless I'm there to see it. The look on your face is too valuable. Bye.